The military junta in Mali has called for nationwide demonstrations tomorrow in response to sanctions imposed by the regional body ECOWAS. Well, the measures, which were announced after the junta said that elections won't be held for another 5 years, include the closure of land and air borders with neighbouring countries, with the exception of Guinea. Well, France supports the sanctions. Meanwhile, there's anger in the ranks of the Malian leadership after it said the country's airspace had been breached by a French military plane earlier on in the week. Well, let's get some more analysis from our senior reporter, Cyril Payen. Cyril, you spent quite a lot of time in Mali lately. Are we expecting to see more sanctions imposed on Mali, perhaps at a European level?
Yeah, it's happening now. We have the preliminary talks from the EU leaders. We are just reuniting, meeting now in Brest, in France. It's an informal foreign affairs minister meeting. We can expect very much some very hard line towards the Malian junta, the Malian transitional government, and especially in terms of let's talk about Russia. In terms of informal military, namely paramilitary from the mercenaries from the Baghdad group, which is very active in some places in the world, and especially where there is a gap to fill, where the French influence is vanishing. Let's say so. It's the case in Bangui in central Africa, and it looks very much that the Russians are moving ahead very fast in Mali, because we think now a lot of observers think that we have less than 500 operatives on the field now, on the ground in Mali. So it's getting very fast, and it's part, of course, of the huge part of sanctions which should be imposed from the EU side. In the coming hours, or maybe by tomorrow morning.
Okay, of course, France's military presence in the region, as we've been saying, being reduced, and at the same time, anti-French government sentiment very much on the rise there in Mali. What can we expect to happen tomorrow when there are these nationwide protests?
Well, in fact, there is not much voices heard so far after the call from this transitional government to make these huge demonstrations, which will be nationwide, and not only. We could expect some people in front of the embassies. For instance, in France, we have a huge diaspora of Malian in France, and there are not many voices against that. It's a really it's a way to counteract against these sanctions, which are seen as being instrumentalized by France. So these big demonstrations, whether it's followed or not, but it should be quite massively tomorrow, will be a call anti the French government policies. The problem is the French have over 5,000 troops on the ground in Mali and in Sahel. This is the largest military operation by France, and it has been started less than 10 years ago. And at a time where France is trying to find an exit, it comes really much at the wrong time.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed for that analysis. Our senior reporter, Cyril Payen. Thank you.